Tita is staring at you and giving you all diabetes, and I'm gonna ruin it. Anyway, welcome back to more of the Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky. We'll be finishing up the final dungeon in this part as we head down to the 4th floor. Now, we're going to start by using Agate and Tita. We're going to be using them for half of this floor. And the reason is that floor 4 is kind of special. Early on in the floor, it splits into 2 paths. The first path just leads to treasure, while the second one leads to actual progress. So obviously we're taking the treasure path first. Before we do that though, I'll just explain. So this is the path that leads to progress. This is the path that leads to treasure. But speaking of treasure, we have a couple of chests just lying around in the other 2 alcoves. Tear All Balm. An empty chest is a tragic thing indeed. Not a 100% run, it isn't. We're actually getting very close to getting the chest achievement as well. And here we have another Tear All Balm. Say, have we met before? No, but I've met your cousin who also had a Tear All Balm. So anyway, through here, let's go. Now, the map that's on the walkthrough that I linked earlier, it actually does something interesting. It color codes the paths, marking this path in blue and the other path in the normal dark grey. The reason why it had to do this is these paths kind of crisscross each other slightly, so actually just marking them as separate paths would make things a little confusing. Level off of Joshua just after he got hit by those double axes, so that's good. Okay, ducking in here, we get Tear All Balm again. It's empty! Treachery! They are sure giving us a lot of those Tear All Balms, and we're probably gonna use as many of them as we can, because, okay, let's not go through there yet, that leads to actual progress. Because, yeah, no use having Elixir Syndrome at this point. The game is almost over. And another Tear All Balm! The chest is so empty it hurts. Ow. I just felt the pain from that chest being empty. Anyway, this here is why the paths crisscross. We're actually going above the main path of progress. So let's go through here. I believe this way leads to the chest. And more M-Series Dooms. And so we get another Royal Guard. Double dipping is against the rules. Well, we only really... Well, for my plan party, I only need 2 for the final battle. And let's go ahead and... should we heal or should we use the Tear All Balms that we found? Might as well. Like I said, it's the end of the game, no reason not to spam these. Did it just... I think it didn't let me use it because she was already at full health. Anyway, through here... And I believe this is the end of this first path. Celestial Balm. It wouldn't be empty if you hadn't taken the stuff in it. Celestial Balm should be pretty helpful in the final fight. Okay, this chest I'm pretty sure is monsters, and it's a special type. Gundolls are back. Well, 1 Gundoll and 2 M-Series Dooms. Now, these Gundolls are a bit different to the ones that Malthea had. These ones are 20% weak to all elements. They can still call for backup, though. Let's see what I use here. I suppose I can go for Blue Impact, since it's weak to it. Now let's just go ahead and cancel you. Of course, Anti-Sept is a lot more reliable. Let's set that up as soon as we can. Did you just walk out of the AoE? I'm pretty sure you did, but it's fine since I don't think you have any arts that I can use. And let's just go ahead and S-Break with Joshua here. I guess I can just say something. So, earlier in the Amalthea fight, I accidentally used Joshua's S-Break when I tried to use Tita's. That's because I have S-Break set to the right analog stick on my PlayStation 4 controller. It's not as good of a solution as how Cold Steel handles the S-Break shortcuts. In that game, you have to hold triangle and use the D-pad for S-Breaking, which I personally feel works pretty well. Why am I getting so unlucky with those things actually behaving properly on this run? Because, yeah, they can malfunction just like they can in the Amalthea fight. Anyway, there's one more thing that I want to talk about a little later in this floor, but before then, we need to make sure that we don't get exploded by these things. Okay, anybody want to take this? Yeah, I'll go ahead and have you take it. Sadly, we did not get to see that thing confuse itself. Okay, Earth Wall is up. And I guess, okay, they're not exploding just yet. And Earth Wall is down on Agate. Repeat, Earth Wall is down on Agate. Let's put it back up again. He's gonna have to take one explosion beforehand, though. It's not just cool guys, don't look at explosions, it's the even cooler guys do look at explosions, and they just take the explosion to the face like a champ. I should be fine to let this thing explode in my face. I admit the animation looks pretty awesome. Speaking of awesome, inside this chest we get the Arc Rod. Nope, still empty. So the Arc Rod is Estelle's best weapon if you didn't choose the Mystic Staff when turning in the Carnelians. So it's only 10 less strength than that, but you know this game's formulas. A tiny difference in strength means a huge difference in damage. That doesn't really mean that much. Not quite done yet, though. One more chest in here. Celestial Balm. You again! Don't worry, we're not going to be back here. Yeah, we're actually not going to be back here. And this one, another Celestial Balm. The chest is empty. Are you surprised? So, that takes care of this branching path entirely. All the treasure has been obtained. It is now lining our pockets, / being held in Estelle's hands in the case of the staff. And we can head back to base to swap out our party for the second half of the 4th floor. I guess one thing that just hit me on my way back, this song, I don't know if this is the technical term, but it sounds like a waltz. So the fact they actually managed to make a waltz sound like an incredibly epic Final Dungeon theme, I love the Trail series composers. Except apparently there's one that, like, the fan that kind of joined recently that the fan base kind of despises for weird reasons and has actually attacked on Twitter and even dossed simply over his songs being not quite as good as the rest of the composers. It's like, what? That composer didn't start showing up until Cold Steel 3, but yeah, it's just really bizarre. So, for my final team for this dungeon, I'm gonna go with Olivier and Chloe. So, this is the team that I always bring to this game's final fight, and it's the team that nearly everyone who plays this game brings to this game's final fight. So I feel like this game is niche enough that I don't feel the need to be quote-unquote original with my... Who has the other Valkyrie dress? Or have I not found it yet? I know there's a second Valkyrie dress in here. Nope, I was right, I just hadn't found the second Valkyrie dress. Okay, so here we are back at the branching path. Let's go. I like how there's a little bit of variety in the environment now. There are some steps, and there's a heck of a lot more enemies here, so now might be a good time to show... well, I mean, we've already seen Titanic Roar, but for me to explain it a little bit. So, it is a little inefficient in terms of its cast time and overall damage. I'm going to use it here, along with Estelle and Joshua going for White Gahana. Chloe, I don't think... Yeah, she just has Hellgate. But I've got Blue Impact on her, as well as Clock Up EX, Anticept All, and lots of healing. So observe how much damage this does. Like, a high 500s to low 600s. Kinda similar. Now here's Titanic Roar's damage. Yeah, it only goes up to the low 400s. So overall, I don't really find it to be all that worth it, usually. But I do think it has a niche in the final boss fight. The final boss likes to summon minions who will quickly overwhelm you if you let them stay alive too long. They can also heal the final boss. And the battlefield is really huge, to the point where you just can't rely on being able to hit everything and even Aerostorm. Oh, hi Gundles. So, having an entire battlefield AoE spell, even if it's not the strongest of things... Alright, yeah, Joshua's list got a little bit revamped since I changed things so he had information. But even though it does relatively low damage, it's still very useful in the final fight because either the enemies are so weakened by Joshua's Black Fang that Titanic Roar finishes them off, or Titanic Roar lowers enemies into range of Joshua's Black Fang. Joshua's Black Fang is going to be seeing a lot of use in the final fight. Speaking of which, I will probably be using it later on in this fight. And I guess I can go for Shadow Spear or one of them, just so I don't lose that 10% strength turn. Is someone going to explode? One is, but it's out of range of everyone, hopefully. Nobody was bathed in fire that day. Although this is, you know, the same day as previously, where Agate and Tita got quite painfully bathed in fire, but oh well. Just barely survived. This is where Olivier having a gun comes in handy. You can summon more of those, that's always annoying. At least I only have to use regular anti-sept. And they give you plenty of time to use them, so generally not that big a deal. I've actually let them get, I almost called it Arc Prominence, no, that's something entirely different, that's from a later Trails game, and that thing is even worse, but no. I actually have let them get off, what's it called again? It's, Volcanic Rave, that's it. I've actually let them get that attack off, on my Nightmare run, and it completely party wiped me, so probably for the best not to let that happen. Although the one annoying thing about inflicting mute on them is they will start coming directly at you to use their physical attacks, and that means more chances of you getting caught in the blast radius of their explosion. So yeah, basically, like, I don't know, this series is niche enough that I don't see, like, a lot of, like, people discussing tactics for fights online, but this is how I like to handle the final boss fight of this game. So yeah, I've got Titanic Roar for now, and the other good thing about Titanic Roar is that if you have enough Elemental Quartz for it, you definitely have enough for Earth Wall, which is something that I really, really want on Olivier. So for the final battle, I'm going to have Clock Up EX and Earth Wall on as many characters as possible. Having Titanic Roar means that I'll also have Earth Lance, which is the best, again, I keep saying it, most cost-efficient single target damage in the game. As far as arts go. And I may actually need to Earthguard Chloe right now. Well, guess we'll find out if she can survive this. Definitely, okay, that's good. And yeah, here you can see the extreme rubber band experience scaling of this game in action. And we get the Herb Blades. Ask again later. So, I'm actually going to splice in footage of my original run that lost the sound here, because an achievement should have popped there. Yep, there it is, Weapon Connoisseur, we have them all, the Herb Blades. Ask again later. Okay, so we have those now, and the problem is, obviously, I don't have any use for them other than selling because the Twin Plovers are better. But if you didn't choose the Twin Plovers, you can go ahead and use the Herb Blades here. EP Charge EX, you came back! I knew you would. Sadly, I'm gonna have to leave you forever. Yeah, we're probably not coming back to these ruins if we can help it. Now, if you turn around. I believe, yes, okay, now these things are showing up in combination with other enemies, which makes them very, very fun. Except I need to heal Joshua, but very fun to use Chaos Brand on. And yep, that's what Confusion does with these things. So, while we're in the last part of the final dungeon, something that I can talk about here is, well, for one, this game's level cap, and also file transfer. So the level cap in this game is 49. There is no way you're going to be that high. Like, good luck getting there by the end of the game. You only need to be, as I've said before, around 35 to 40 for the final boss. Honestly, 40 is overkill. I've beaten the final boss on Nightmare at level 36. So it's definitely doable a lot lower. And really, there's actually no benefit to leveling higher than 40, because here's how the file transfer works. So this game has a bit of an old save bonus system, kind of like Fire Emblem Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn. It's not quite as in-depth though. So the first thing that transfers is Estelle's level. Only to an extent though. So Estelle's level carries over directly into the second game if you do a file transfer, but to a minimum of 35 and a maximum of 40. So really it only matters if her level is anywhere between 36 and 38. I can talk more about the file transfer while we're fighting this monster chest. So that's the first thing. Now, one thing that I have heard, though I have not 100% confirmed this information, but I've heard that the enemies in the prologue scale their levels off of Estelle's. Now, normally that wouldn't be a big deal, except there's a companion who joins Estelle during the prologue chapter, SC. And this companion character always joins at the same level, regardless of whether or not you did a file transfer. So it means that while the level scaling will not affect Estelle herself, like her own damage output, it will actually make her partner weaker by comparison. Again, I haven't totally confirmed this. I guess I'm going to have to find out when I do my file transfer. You'll see what level Estelle ends up going to the second game at, once I get there. So the second aspect of the file transfer is that you get a few reward items in the second game, depending on what your Bracer rank was in the first game. Now, since I have no experience doing non-100% playthroughs of FC, I actually don't know what the items are for every rank below the highest one, so I only know the rewards you get for doing 100% BP run, and if you do get all the BP, you get a very special quartz at the start of the second game that greatly raises the drop rate of enemies. There are a few side quests in early SC that rely on enemy drops, so that can be a very useful item to have. There are also a few other rewards. The other rewards that you get from a perfect file are, I'll get to them when I get to the second game, but let's just say they're actually very useful considering the prologue in SC. Well, SC is a very big difficulty spike from the first game, and the prologue is widely considered the absolute hardest part of the second game. So, you need all the help you can get in the prologue, so a few extra items that are very good for helping you survive, definitely useful to have. Please don't die still. Just barely, nice. Why not?
We're good to go.
So that's the second aspect of the file transfer. The third doesn't affect gameplay, but the third aspect of the file transfer is that, remember when I said this game had a bit of a subtle X will remember that system? Basically, certain side quests in the first game will have repercussions in the second game. Sometimes they give you additional items. It's nothing particularly major, but it is kind of nice. And most of the time, they just change the dialogue slightly of, of particular NPCs when you meet them. Ah, no. Anyway, that's the second Valkyrie dress I was talking about earlier, so Chloe can finally take that. And whoops, I forgot to give her accessories. Let's change that right now. Gladiator headband and, yeah, preventing death blows is good because there are enemies with, Shadow Spear here. And you'll take a Glam Choker. Basically, the NPCs in the second game, some of their stories from the first game will carry over. Which is pretty nice, actually. The one that I mostly remember off the top of my head is... I'm going to wait for a second before opening this chest. The couple that had broken up back in Zeiss that we helped set on the path to reconciling. Let's just say that as repercussions in the second game. And now, before I open this chest, I'm going to switch to my footage of the failed take to get my live reaction to what happened. Valkyrie dress. Ha ha ha, no. Oh, I am going pale right now because that better not have been the last treasure chest in the game. I swear that I got all of them. But I might have forgotten to check the message in one of them. Oh, I'm panicking right now. Please tell me. Okay, I think there's still a little more to this place. Some stairs up here. Okay, please tell me there's more chests. There's at least one more chest in here. Gonna go for an EP Charge EX. I am so nervous right now, because if I went through all this trouble and I missed a chest, I'm gonna get very angry. Tear All Balm. So, when do you plan on giving my stuff back? Yes! Oh! Okay. Okay, I do not need to worry anymore. Relief washes over me like an ocean. I did not expect to get that poetic, but it's the best way to describe the fact that, yes, I actually did it. That is every single treasure chest in this game. So yeah, with that, we have opened up every single treasure chest in the entire game. All 100 and... I actually think there's 164 of them, because the achievement was always one behind my personal chest count. So I'm guessing there's one chest that, for some reason, the achievement doesn't count, and I think it's actually the one in the forest that can disappear all the way at the beginning of the game. So, this elevator is going to take us to the end of this place. Sealed area, bottom level. And there's one thing here that I unfortunately find kind of annoying. I hate to be this negative this late into the game, but this right here is obviously the gateway to the final confrontation. Our final fight with Colonel Richard awaits. And there is a heal point, but it's just, this would have been so simple for the game designers to do, and I can't see why they didn't. I think you know what I'm about to say. Joshua says make sure we're ready before going inside, but guess what? The base doesn't move. If you want to change your party, or synthesize more quartz, or buy items, you have to backtrack all the way to the start of the 3rd floor. Just, why couldn't they have had the base move down here? It would have made sense, and it would have given you a place to restock and change your party before the final battle, but no. Oh, that's just a shame. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to head back. Now, you might be wondering, at this point, I would be grinding for the secret for that achievement. However, I actually got that on my no sound recording of this place, so I'm going to have to go ahead and show footage from that take. I'll also be showing footage from that take for me synthesizing the final quartz that I needed for the That's a Lot of Balls achievement. And after I show that footage, it'll be time for the final battle. Okay, that took me about 15 minutes, but that's done. But, speaking of done, there is one more achievement that I need, and I can finally get it now. Where are you? EP Cut 3. Gimme. And there we go. That is indeed a lot of balls. We have all of them now. Okay, so with that, next time I will see you for the final battle. And, I just realized something. Yeah, I felt immense relief at getting all chests in this game that has like 163 or 164 chests. I just remembered how many chests there are in the second game. I'm not going to reveal it just yet, but I want you all to guess. I'll give you a hint though, it's more than double, and I think it's also more than triple. But yeah, just guess how many are in the second game, and I'll reveal the answer once we get there. But, forgetting that, see you all for the final battle next time.